Hello, students, and welcome to another lesson using Sketchup.com free. By popular request, I want to do a demo how to make the retro toy rocket, which will be an accompaniment to your pegboard toy, and you can put it on your table. We can make a scene at a later date. So without further ado, make sure you navigate to the Sketchup.com landing page, go into the upper right corner and find My Apps. You want to make sure you're navigating to the free version of Sketchup. You may have to log in with your Google account and navigate to the free version, as I said. Here's the familiar red logo, and I'm going to try to go quickly. So create new, simple template, feet and inches. Go to the right side, find model info, and make sure you're in decimals. I'm going to leave the snap interval. Actually, I'm going to change the snap interval to like 0.01 today, and then hit enter. And then I'm going to select the 5'8" lady and remove her. Then I'm going to put this in, use the scene tab to go parallel projection and front view. And then I'm going to move that origin down to the right. Make this thing 12 inches tall, starting at the origin, move up the y-axis, and look down there at the bottom where it says length. Maybe put a 12 inner, and that way you can make it exactly 12 inches. Zoom in. Use the arc tool. And I'm making this rocket fairly slim, but not too slim. It's a retro toy rocket. You can use the internet for inspiration. Then I'm going to put some details on the side of this rocket by putting rectangles like this. And then I'm going to use lines. And you'll see why after we revolve it. I'm going to use the eraser tool. And I'll show you a different way to put details on this by putting, instead of a rectangle that's in, you put, or out, that you put one that's in. And then finish off your profile with a nozzle. So there are no specific measurements for this. And there's your profile. Now I'm going to use the follow me tool. First, I'm going to rotate my axes so that I'm looking at a much more like a top view with my profile. And I'm going to put a circle right there. Then I'm going to use the follow me tool for select the profile, and it revolves around for you. See that? And then you select the circle and hit delete. Put it back in front view. Use a pencil tool to make your fins. Fin is going to look like this. You're the designer. You design how your fins are going to look. There we go. And I'm going to rotate and use the push-pull tool to make a thin fin, not a thick fin, a thin. See? Thin. Thin fin. Now I'm going to use this select tool to select the entire fin. Go Control C and move my cursor over here onto the right, left, and Control V, Control V, Control V. That's 4 fins that are all going to need to be rotated. Again, keep your image central. Look at it from top view. This one is already selected, so you try to remember which direction you're rotating your fins so that you can. Now remember, each time you have to select it, rotate it. This one has to be selected and rotated 180 degrees. There we go. And I'm going to use the move tool now. This one's already been selected and rotated 180, so maybe use the pan tool. Center it. Grab the move tool. The reason why I put a 0, 1 on this is so that I can center my fin right on that axis line down to the nearest 1/100th of an inch. Looks like it's having trouble even so. There we go. Well, that's close enough. Now that I've got it on the proper axis, I'm going to pull it down into position like that. And I'm going to actually use the select tool, select the entire fin. Look at it from top view first. You want to line it up on the axis first. Move it. See? So you want to move it onto that line. Get it centered on the line, reasonably close anyway. And then move it into position like so. There. And now I'm going to, again, look at it from top view. Selected it. Move it into position. Look at it from right view. See, so I want to move it into position. Right. Doesn't look like it's somehow it got out of position. There we go. So far, so good. Let's orbit and take a look at what we have so far. Okay. And once again, top view. Use the arrow tool to select it. Grab the 4 arrow tool to move it onto the axis. Looks fairly close. Look at it from right view. Pull it into position. Oops. Control Z. Control Z. Yeah, you can always go Control Z if things don't work right. And then that looks just about accurate enough for a toy. So now I want to color it. I want to go to the one, two, three, four, fifth, sixth tool down. You'll find the colors, and then you use the magnifying glass. Possibly just use colors. I like the red, so I'm going to go red, red. Let's see, maybe I should go red in the middle and red here. And then I'm going to switch to a chrome metal. Here's a chrome. And I'm going to start rotating this or selecting everything that I want to be chrome. And then again, orbit, select your material, hit chrome, whatever color you so choose. Remember, you got to select the surface and then orbit. Let's deselect orbit. Boom, 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 boom. As I continue to orbit around, verify different surfaces. Feel like I've got it. All right, so I think the final step again would be to put this back into front view. So I want to add one last detail, which would be the portal. So with that, I'm going to use a circle tool, and I'm going to put it off to the side and make a circle that I think would look aesthetically pleasing in size. And then another circle inside of that. Again, I'm going to orbit so I can use the push-pull tool. And what I'm going to do is push the outer ring back a lot and the inner ring just a little bit right there. Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm going to look at it from right view. Oops, top view maybe. And again, select the whole thing with it. Marquee. Position it beside my rocket like so. Actually, I'm going to use the rotate tool to make sure you have the proper. So I want to make this a bit of an angle, and then I'm going to position it inside and bring it over to the center. Oh, I see something happened there. Have to take a look at that. But it looks okay, I believe. Nope, Control Z. There's a little indentation that occurred there. I don't know. So I'm going to use the move tool again, get it right there. Nice. And then back to the materials list. Possibly put a chrome on that. And then also I'm going to orbit it so I can put a chrome here. And then finally, I'm going to use water and select a watery color for the window there. Now that I'm done with that, I want to make sure I put this back into perspective view. Don't get alarmed if it gets small. And I'm going to use the glasses to take the axes off, put the shadows on, give it a nice time of day. That looks very nice. Bring it in close. Center it with the pan tool. Save. And this is called Rocket 4. And I'm going to save it here. Don't forget to click those blue buttons. And then once it's done saving, you see it says saving. And then finally go to the 3 lines at the left. You got to export as PNG and export as PNG. And that gives you a Rocket PNG in your downloads folder. Now that it's there, you go to the downloads folder, double click, and there's it is. Now that, my students, is the image that you would want to turn in for full credit. I hope this helped.